coming up, Lauren is a game designer and narrative designer, worked on Tales of the Shire, as many of my friends have, created a studio, which they are working on. And I saw this. This is how we met. A roguelike deck building dating sim called Clownbaby. This is how we met. Mutual friends introducing us at the writers' meetup at Melbourne International Games Week last year and pitching this game to me. Both the incredible mechanics and like hilarious aesthetics behind it. Proud to be the only one who got the Always Sunny reference behind the name, but also with wonderful frustration and opportunity of what relationship mechanics are and could be in games. So I don't know if we're going to talk about that today, but I love your thoughts there. And I love nerding out about narrative with you, Lauren, and hope to do so more. So I'm just going to stop rambling because I know we're a little short on time, and I don't want to cut into any of the time of our next speaker, Lauren Timos, better known as T-Dog Extreme.
What's up? I'm so grateful to be here. I'm from Melbourne. It's been really lovely flying down here. It's delightful to meet everyone as well. So I'm T-Dog, and I'm so excited to talk to you about how I'm having a really bad time, actually. Because when I play games now, they're just less fun. It's just astounding. So the question I'd like to pose to you all is, how did you play games when you were a kid? What games did you get good at? What games did you get obsessed with? Have you gone back and played them as an adult? You know, and like, how do you play games now comparatively, right? Like, this is like the crux of the talk. Because the point of this is delving into whimsy and enjoyment, right? Like, games is quite an intense industry to be in. And if you really think about it, we're quite serious for something that's quite silly. So that's kind of what I want to talk about today. So having worked on games and having been an adult as well, I'm having a bad time, gang. I'm having a really bad time. I've been finding that the more I've worked within games, the less I'm actually able to just relax and enjoy it as an audience member. And it's not just me either. It's a lot of people in this room, a lot of people outside of this room who are in games. It's a struggle to just play the game. Consuming media sucks. I have a lot of issues with James Cameron's Avatar. It's just right there. Oh, look at this. It just frustrates me. So every time I watch or I play something now, I can't switch off that critical sort of mind or that critical eye. I'm just frequently like thinking about everything that's going on. I'm playing a game and I'm thinking, I can see the team's been rushed. I can see how much effort they've put in and everything's been pushed forward. You know, they've had to hit milestones that they weren't able to. Or, you know, like the pacing or the characterization on this particular bit of media is just so poor, but it's because like it's the first pass, right? Like you can just sense these things. And I guess the other frustrating things for us as game devs and creatives is audiences are usually reasonably upset with things, right? But the problem is they don't really have a good sense as to why something's happened. So we also don't really have a space to go in and complain because they're often sort of going along some sort of conspiracies and stuff that we just can't really relate to, right? Like, so it's just, it's basically us, right? It's peers that we can sort of complain and talk to. And yeah, I wrote sorry to James Cameron, but it just, if you want to ask me any questions after this and you want to ask me about Avatar, you're so welcome to, because I have a lot of thoughts on James Cameron's most recent Avatar series. So one of the things that I found was when I played games specifically from my childhood, that sort of critical eye that I had, that like really intense, like, what's wrong with this, just wasn't quite as prevalent. Like it really sort of went down, right? I had minor issues. I have this specific example. This is Shrek 2, and when you play as Donkey, he's a stallion in this instance. It's very good. When he jumps on a spider web, there's a little clop sound that his hooves make on the web. Terrible sound design. Atrocious. So that's as irritated as I get with childhood games of mine. Is this particular instance? So shout out to that. So, right, everything I'm saying, so it sounds like if I play childhood games again, I'm having a good time, right? No, wrong. because now I'm good at games. Now I'm an adult. I have like dexterous fingers. I can do things. I have motor control. I can read. I know what the game wants me to do, right? I have all these things I can do. Now I make spreadsheets when I play games. Like I go on subreddits and read someone's maths on RNG, and I'm like, yeah, that's really good. Let me write that down. Like it's just atrocious. Right? Whereas when I was young, games were hard, so I just did whatever I could because I didn't know what was going on, right? I was innocent. We were innocent. So yeah, inside me there's two wolves, right? Bit of a callback to one of the previous talks. So on this side, we have the player, right? Quite brooding, but prevalent. Rigid, right? Sticks to expected, did I finish that? No, sticks to what's expected, yeah. Understands how to play, and just dislikes games that don't adhere to exactly what I want. I'm a very rigid and aggressive player. It's very internal, but it's there. As a designer, I have a very good understanding of what players expect, right? I've worked for EA as well, seen a lot of things behind the scenes. I'll tend to design based on prior patterns that I've seen, and also I enjoy problem solving, but mostly at this point when it works, right? So you can see parallels between these two creatures inside of me that are very like very, very rigid and aggressive, right? So yeah, parallels, they sort of coexist. They're in different facets, but there's a relationship there. But there's a third wolf inside me, and it's a very cool wolf. And this is the child player within me, who's very different when they play games, and specifically childhood games. They're so chill. They're actually so chill. They never understood what was expected, just played however they could, whatever was fun. Were generally really bad at games, but again, would find the fun wherever they could. And also, even if gameplay didn't do the things that they wanted, they would find a way to make sure that the game did what they wanted, right? So if I wanted to play if I wanted to pat a dog, for example, and they wouldn't let me, I would probably like corner the NPC somehow and like do some weird movement to make it look like I'm patting the dog. And I loved it. I loved every minute of it, right? That was the child player within me. So what I would like to do is talk about a game that I've been playing from my childhood and analyse how I've been playing it now as an adult. And that's Age of Mythology. I really like Age of Mythology. So when I asked you what games you played as a kid, what I would like for you to do, as I'm talking through Age of Mythology, consider a game for yourself. Like, what's that game that really gets your brain ticking? Because for me, Age of Mythology, that was my game. That was, again, if you have any questions that you want to ask, Age of Mythology is another really good one. I can talk about this game forever. So one of the things, so I'm going to use Age of Mythology as the basis of the talk, like the main framework, and I'm going to bounce between examples of like how I played as a kid and then how it's changed as an adult, as like a point of analysis. So just a quick thing on what Age of Mythology is. So it's an RTS, and it has a surprising amount of, narrative, yes. There's like 30 campaign missions, I think maybe even 40 if you count them all up. So it's a very fun game. Overview, just so I don't get, it's so easy to just start talking about things and talking too much about them. So overview is, you have 4 pantheons: Greek, Egyptian, Norse, Atlantean, that was fake. In each of the pantheons, there's 3 major gods to choose from, and the main thing is if you played Age of Empires, it's like that, but instead you have mythological creatures that you could also add to your armies, and then god powers, right? That's the distinctive thing here. It's very good. I would recommend you play it. So I played the game a lot when it came out in 2004, right? Like I just need to point out, so this is actually my game. You can see my name's up here, right? This is my game. I've gotten really good at this game, right? So all of these, this is the hardest difficulty of the game, and I did that on all of these little campaign missions. It's just really important you know that, right? My first iteration of this talk, actually, I showed this to a friend, and she said, it was really good, but my takeaway was, you're just good at this game. And I'm like, right, got to rethink that. So to give you like a clear understanding of like how embedded this is in my childhood, again, for your own reference points, I played the game when it came out in 2004, then I got into it again when it got remastered in 2014. Also, 2004 was when it was on a demo disc, just to be so clear that. And then it got a total makeover when in 2024. Like they changed all the models, they've changed all the all the graphics. Like it's called Age of Mythology Retold now. And so, yeah, I got really into it, like really, really into it. I started setting myself challenges. I started like playing the game on like crazy amounts of difficulty. And then, yeah, like I've sunk 200 hours plus into it. And I think that might be more than when I did when I was a kid. And it's getting to the point now when I close my eyes, like I see like little villages moving around that like farm or like collect gold in the same way some people who play Tetris too much see Tetris pieces. Like it's actually really bad. Like I can do it now. I won't. So yeah, that's how into the game I am, right? But here's the thing. I'm not actually having more fun playing this game. Like, I love it, and I enjoy it conceptually, and I enjoy that I'm good at the game, but I'm not actually having more fun. And this is what the talk is sort of about, right? It's about losing this kind of magic as we get good at games, and maybe even part of it is like being a game dev, right? And another good example to look into is Stardew Valley, right? Where when you start playing Stardew Valley, it's whimsical, it's joyous, you're meeting all these different characters. Oh, who is this person? Oh, Sebastian, oh, hello. But then as you get 6 months into it, suddenly you're like knee-deep in spreadsheets and you're like, how do I make sure that I get the town centre together by the time it's year 2? And I'm missing like these, like that's how we play games now, and it's just like wild, that sort of difference there. So this is what like has really like got me thinking here. What did I actually do for fun when I was a kid? What did I actually enjoy about the game? What's different now versus when I was a kid when I used to play, right? Because if I'm doing all the things that I'm setting for myself, if I'm, hitting all the goals, if I'm winning all the time, like, I don't understand, like, why am I not getting the same fulfillment? So this is where I'm going to start breaking down. I'm going to do a very quick overview, so don't worry. But just a very quick overview of like basic concepts in the game, and then how did I play when I was a kid versus how I play now, and then we'll sort of like delve into the meaning of that or the importance of that. So basically, this talk is like the whimsy of not knowing versus the burden of expertise. That's like the core of this all. So the food economy of Age of Mythology, very simple. Don't worry. There's 2 sources of food that you can get in this game, right? So you've got animals or farming, and you need to balance which one you want to do, which one works better based on a number of factors. So the overview of it is animals have finite food, right? But they're free to hunt. Animals are quicker to harvest food from. Then you have a subset of animals called herdables, and these are cows and pigs and that sort of thing. You can control them, so it's a lot easier to like get them to your base and harvest from them or whatever. And then the other option you have is farms, but they cost wood to establish, but they're also infinite, right? So you have a number of things to choose from to try and figure out, all right, which one should I pick? As a child, you want farms, because farms, you don't have to kill pigs. They're just having a good time. They're just enjoying themselves, right? And it's really sad to kill little piggies when they love you so much that they listen to all your instructions. So you should, and the other thing you should do on top of this, here's the visual, you should have a little sanctuary for them and build little farms, and then the villagers can hang out with them, and then they actually form like mutual bonds and connections probably. So they're all really, really connected and loving it. And then also, if you have Poseidon as your major god, you can get this little rock thing here, and it summons deers and pheasants and chickens. So then if you do that in the sanctuary, they're all friends. That's the game. That's the whimsy and joy of the game, right? So, doesn't that sound fun? No, wrong. Whimsy in this economy? No, it's not happening. Because you need wood. You need wood to build houses, to get more population, to get more soldiers, obviously. You need docks to get fishing ships, to get more food, especially early game, right? And also, you can't really access farms until like the second age. That's the whole thing. But like, it means you'll have to kill animals, right? Because you need their meat. You need their precious meat to develop precious soldiers, because if you don't kill the pigs and you don't get the soldiers, you're going to get overwhelmed and you're going to die. It's so obvious. This is the game. This is what you want to play. So, hooray. So, the battle system is the next bit, right? Super basic. It's like a rock, paper, scissors type thing. Infantry beats cavalry, cavalry beats archers, archers beat infantry, and then you've got myth units that beat most things. So super easy. And then you'll go through different ages where you'll pick a minor god as well. So this is like an example of what the screen looks like. So you can just pick whichever one you want. And so you've just got to consider what's the myth unit they offer, what's the god power they offer, and do they have upgrades that affect your soldiers in different ways, right? So let's delve into an optimal setup, right? Let's really deep dive into how to build an army or whatever you want, using Hades as an example, right? So you can see you've got like these different columns, right? So this is different ages, and then in each of these ages, you've got to pick one of these two guys. And so then you've got to figure out, all right, based on this, which god power do I want? Which myth unit do I want? Like, how's it gonna go, right? So for Hades, right? So he's got some specific units. You know, we got a Minotaur here, you know, Manticore thing here. Like, all right, which is the best way to go? Also considering like some of the upgrades might help with villagers or with some soldiers and stuff. So what you want to do is 40 Minotaurs, you want 40 Nemean Lions and 40 Chimeras. This is the optimal child army setup by far, right? Now, we're going to break down bit by bit why. So if we look at the Minotaurs, they're cool. Straight up, what more do you need? And if you look at the Nemean Lions, cats are pretty good. That's quite nice, aren't they? And also, that's quite ugly. That's quite ugly and disappointing, and that's the other option that you have. We don't want that. It's just a bit foreskinny. We don't really like that. Sad. And then the other option that you have, the last one, is the Chimera. And now the reasoning for this, if you really think about it, is they're part lion. And if they're part lion and they're with lions, they're going to get along really well, right? We've got a really good symbiotic, really communicative army happening here. So it's all just a really good time. Now, the other option you have here are the Colossi. They're okay, but the problem is they're just like really big bronze men, and it's like it's just humans, do you know what I mean? Like, if we're doing humans, humans are boring. So while they're cool because they're giant and they're made of metal, the human factor really just takes them down like pretty significantly. So this is the optimal army setup, right? No, you're gonna die. I'm so sorry. You're dead and broke. That's what happened to me when I tried out this army while I was putting together this talk. Yeah, there's no more gold because 2 of these mythical creatures use the same resource. Also, none of the units in that setup are good against buildings, so you're going to have a hard time bringing down all of the enemies' buildings and all the town. And again, this happened to me while I was playing. Then you're watching all these beautiful creatures that you love and cherish die slowly, and it's very painful. It is not fun, and there's nothing you can do to bring them back. We love it. It's so fun. So this is the final example that I have for you. So there's this mission in the game, it's my favorite mission by far, where you restore temples. You've got these like decrepit temples and villages. You've got to make sure they come around and like build them up and make them fancy. Once you restore the temples, you get these big monsters called behemoths, right? They're gorgeous, they're huge, we love them. And they're really good at sieging buildings, right? In this particular mission, you don't have access to the minor god that will give you the behemoths, so they're implicitly finite in this particular mission. So it's quite clear, especially because they're good at sieging buildings, that what the game wants you to do is use them to take over the enemy's base, destroy all the buildings, you win, hooray. But because they're finite and because they make really sad sounds as they're slowly dying, I hate doing that because I'm watching them slowly die one by one. So what I like to do as a kid is, look at them, they're retiring. They're in a little sanctuary with the villagers. And they're so happy. They're like just chilling out, you know? Like they're probably like a little bit arthritic because that's a lot of weight on those joints. So, you know, they're just having a good time. So I should be having a good time, right? No. If you're playing on harder difficulties, this makes it significantly more difficult to play. So because they take up population, right? They take up 4 population, which means when you're not using them, you can't get more soldiers. So I can't produce as big of an army as I'd like to actually take over the base. And they also regenerate health and absorb damage really well, better than human soldiers. So hypothetically, losing 1 or 2 is just kind of the game. Maybe even 3 or 4. These are the risks we take, even if they make really tragic sounds as they're dying. Yeah, isn't it fun being an adult playing a game? I'm loving it. So basically, this is like the whole point, right? Where it's like, when I'm having fun playing these games, I actually feel like I'm playing them wrong, right? I don't feel like I'm playing them in the correct way. And if I'm playing the game wrong, it doesn't really feel as fun. And it also feels like that my kind of fun isn't really the type of fun that a game's going to encourage or even cares about, right? And it just kind of sucks a bit. Like, in being good at the game, I understand what the game wants me to do, right? I have a very clear understanding of what the intention is. But oftentimes I actually hate what the intention is, right? I don't want to use human soldiers. It's boring. I don't want to kill pigs and cows. It's the worst to watch them do that and you hear like a little stabbing sound when they do it, right? I don't want to choose a god based on whatever economic upgrades they give me. Ew, like give me a cat or a dog as the mythological creature and that's what I want, right? I want big scary monsters to live. And at the end of the day, in this game, it's about war and violence. I just want people to hang out and have a good time. Like, that's what I want, right? And I feel like I'm playing wrong. And so it goes into this idea of like the whimsy of not knowing versus this burden of expertise, right? Like, in being good at games and understanding what's expected of us, we're sort of more likely to follow patterns to win and to play as expected. We're less likely to find joy by playing freely. It's quite burdensome because even when we're playing freely, I feel like we still tend to stick to very expected frameworks. Like the amount of games I've had to write lists and spreadsheets for in hindsight is like way too much. Like I really shouldn't be. But then there's another problem that I'd like to delve into as part of this. There's two problems, right? Again, James Cameron's Avatar, just... and so the two problems are we are likely players who understand systems and patterns, right? We fall into what the games expect of us, you know, what I was talking about before, and we likely get irritated and find friction. What is this? Yeah, we have innate, usually correct presumptions that stifle our capacity to explore and be curious. And then on top of that, on top of the being developers and the designers thing, it also leads back into having this like, this critical eye as we play, right? We have a stronger understanding of the flaws in the game and why they might exist, right? So players, right? And then the second part of it is we are developers and designers and we have a very good understanding of player behavior and I feel like that does influence how we tend to jump into a game and kind of understand things, right? We sort of appreciate what the other designers are trying to do and we'll tend to follow it because I feel bad sometimes, right? So that's also part of this soup. And there's also the third bit, which is for another talk, but like we are adults in a nihilistic, capitalistic society. It's life. So, is there a solution to this, like going into this whole talk, delving into sort of struggling to play games and enjoying them? Yeah, and that's go play them. Go play those childhood games. This is Alex the Lion from Madagascar. And this is another peak game I could probably talk to you for half an hour on, right? And I mean it so earnestly, right? Go play these games. We're looking for a way to grow our perspective, and like the best perspective we have is consulting that player child within you, right? You have an excellent framework for looking at something now versus when you're a kid, and that's a brilliant comparison to be able to actually utilize. So, yeah, you know, play these games and think about, is there something that you know is fundamentally bad design, but you still like it? Because that's really interesting design-wise. Like, why do you still like it, even if it's bad? Do you actually hate it now? Can you not stand to play it? Why? You know, and how are you inclined to play as an adult versus understanding how you played as a kid? Because like I said before, when you're a kid, you didn't know what was going on and you played anyway. You couldn't read, but you gave it a shot. I'm running out of time, so I might have to like, you know. So this is another sort of dichotomy to sort of explore, looking more at the solution for the developer within us, which is as a player, right, I wish I could play games in the way I enjoy them rather than getting punished, right? So especially because half the time I'm getting punished, it's because I'm trying to be nice to people. And then as a designer, my perspective is I'm annoyed when you don't do exactly what I want you to do, right? So for the developer within us, just let them be bad. I feel like it's crucial to sometimes just let people be bad at your games, to play them wrong, to do as they must. You know, and especially with feedback, especially when you've been in it for years, it's so easy to just get annoyed with what people are telling you, right? Like it feels irrelevant or it feels obvious. And I guess, like I know it's a bit cheesy, but living a bit more in the moment and really taking on that feedback, I feel like is actually quite core to this, right? Like treat each bit of feedback as if, like, where possible, like as if you haven't ever heard it before, right? That kind of stuff, you know. And I know we've all gotten bits of game feedback here and there. That's a bit, you know, how you going? But sometimes in feeling that way, we can skim over some really wonderful pearls, right? So just really trying to appreciate those little bits where you can. Because sometimes, right, like this is the classic meme, right? But what if the players aren't silly? What if actually we're quite rigid, right? And that's, again, part of the crux of this. I did have an example, but I don't think I have time for that. So please ask me about that outside. Are games less fun, or are we? I don't know. Another question that I would like to quickly delve into before I get kicked off, oh no. Why did you start making games? This might be a very, very obvious question to you, but I'm someone who's also mentored quite a few sort of budding developers. And frequently when I ask them, why do you make games, they cannot answer this question. So I feel like this is like a rock of a question to really consider, to really like stop and ground you, right? Why did you make games? And so for me, when I think about that, I think of the kid in me. I think of that child who, you know, was really joyous and excited to just try things out without actually thinking about what was expected of them. So it's really important, you know, I know I'm sort of bouncing here, but I think it's really crucial to think about why you started to make games. Twilight Princess is a really good game. You can grab dogs. I would highly recommend this game. I don't have time, sorry. Anyway, just to leave you with something, play games bad and let players play bad. Yeah. Thank you so much for listening. You're all wonderful.
What was the example game that you had?
So the example was, I worked on a game where there was a specific instance of, we were doing a big group test watching players play this game. I'm not going to name what the game was just in case because I didn't ask permission. But one of the players she didn't know how to use a joystick, right? So what would happen was she would move the camera and would just be looking at the sky or the floor the entire time. And so what it meant was, you know, from the art team's perspective, they were panicking because they thought, like, we've put in all this art, like, what are we going to do? And then a lot of game designers on that team were like, we've got to figure out how to make it really obvious for them to look up. Like, what do we do? What do we do? And I guess I wonder in that instance, like, yeah, okay, maybe it's obvious if we think about that, add some accessibility feature. But I also wonder if there's a way to kind of let her be bad at the game and just enjoy it, especially because it was a very low stakes game. So, you know, I wonder if we could have put more flowers on the ground or some little things to pick up or, you know, just something nice or maybe some even birds to look at in the sky. Like, just imagining her as being this like bad player, so we need to like make her less bad. It's like, just let her be bad. There might be some fun and whimsy we can add to the game just by virtue of people not knowing how to use a controller, and that's fine. That was the example, so thank you for asking that.
Do you have any experience seeing players play your game badly and then realizing that you need to actually make that game instead?
I don't have that specific instance, but I do have an example of a player who I thought was really enjoying my game. It was a pixel RPG. In another way, it kind of like cemented the opposite, right? Where I'm like, you're all just bad at games. Because he was playing my game and he was on the seat for an hour, and I went to go have a look to see where he'd gotten because it seemed like he was really into it, and he hadn't gotten out of the first room. He was just wandering around the room and asked me, how do I get out? Sorry? So yeah, I guess the answer is I don't really have an answer other than it's gone the other way for me, where I'm like, yeah, sorry.
What do you think is going to happen in Avatar 5?
Like, part of me, it just gets me. Like, I don't know, and I think I don't want to know. Like, because wouldn't it just be better? I know this isn't answering your question, but like, wouldn't it just be better as a nature documentary, but like set on Pandora? Like, because, like, spoilers. Like, what even happened? The baby got born, and some people died. Like, what could happen? They go into what's next? Earth. I guess they'll find dirt. Like, I don't, you know? It's just so frustrating. Yeah, why did they resuscitate that guy from the first film as like a main villain? Like, that's ridiculous. He died, let him stay dead. I don't need this random American soldier like chasing some guy through beautiful alien wilderness. It's crazy. Thank you so much for asking that question.